Hello, this is Chef John from foodwishes.com with pressure cooker beef chili. That's right, I'm going to do a basic sort of chili Colorado. By the way, named for the coloring of the dish, not the state. Just a little trivia. So I'm going to do like a chili style beef stew in the Simusa pressure cooker. I get a lot of requests for pressure cooker recipes, and until recently I didn't have one. But now I do, and there it is. Your standard pressure cooker. They always have these kind of sealable, lockable lids and a bunch of doodads on top. And I'm going to show you what all these do, and if you're really good, I'll actually focus it. So here we go. This little doodad here, this knob on top is weighted, and that's basically like a pressure release system. So I'm going to explain that as we go. That little thing there, no idea what that does. Don't mess with it. It must do something. I think it's like an emergency pressure release thingy. To start this chili recipe, which is really more like a beef stew, I'm going to brown a few pounds of beef chuck, seasoned with some salt and pepper. Chili originally was done with chunks of meat like this, not ground. Ground was introduced to make it quicker and easier. With a pressure cooker, we can have it the real way in the same time. All right, so we're going to brown the meat. While the meat is browning, I'm going to saute some onions and garlic and a little bit of vegetable oil over medium-low heat. And when it starts to turn translucent, we're going to add all our chili powders. I have ancho, I have cumin, I have cayenne, I have chipotle, I have paprika. It'll all be on the site. Don't try to write it down. A little bit of dry oregano. And I like to stir my chili spices in the hot oil and onions and garlic mixture for a couple minutes just to wake up the spice. I love that technique. Then I'm going to add a can of diced tomato, the kind with the chilies in it. I'm going to add my nicely browned beef to the pressure cooker. 1 can of water, that's 10 ounces. Again, all the measurements will be on Food Wishes. All right, I'm going to give that a stir. I'm going to make sure it's all mixed really well. And here we go. I'm going to put the lid down, slide it over. You can actually feel it snap into place. Very, very simple to use. All right, so once the lid is locked in place, we're going to put that over high heat, and then we're going to look for 2 things. The first is the pressure release on the handle, and then the second is going to be that weighted knob in the center of the lid. So it's on high. You're going to see little wisps of steam come up, and then a few more, and then it will get like more aggressive, and then it'll sound like something's about to happen. And that's because something's about to happen. That little button is going to push up, and it's going to seal, and no more steam will come out. Here we go. Oh yeah, you hear that? All right, once that happens, we're still on high. Next, we're going to pay attention to this center knob, which has enough weight, which holds it down until the pressure builds up and lifts it off the lid. So we're going to keep that on high until that thing starts to dance. Okay, you can hear that, you can see that. All right, once it starts doing that, we're going to back the heat down to low, and we want to cook it for about 15 minutes, just like that. All right, so once you turn it down to low, there'll still be a little bit of steam coming out. Maybe there's a tiny bit of movement to that pressure release. So basically, you're just going to make little adjustments to the heat to keep it right at that level. Once the cooking time is up, turn off the heat and let it sit for about 10 minutes. And then I just lift up on the knob to release the rest of the steam. When there's no pressure coming out of the top, it's safe to take off, slide the lid off, it'll unlock, and your meat, believe it or not, 15 minutes, fork tender. This would have taken me a couple hours in the traditional way. So the beauty of a pressure cooker is really speed. Okay, you can take a dish, something like beef chuck, that's just going to take hours simmering, and you can really do it in literally 15-20 minutes as far as tenderizing the meat. Now I like to take this one step further. I like to turn the heat to high, and I like to stir in a spoon or 2 of some finely crushed corn chips to give it just a little tiniest bit of body. All right, I'm going to stir that in. I'm going to let that boil for about 5 or 6 minutes just to reduce that sauce a little. And when it looks like that, you are ready to eat. I serve this up with some rice and beans, a little bit of cilantro, a little bit of chopped onion. And man, was that good. So fast, so easy, super tender, super flavorful. Love it. So like I said, all the ingredients will be on the site, but this really isn't so much about this recipe. It's about the basics of using a pressure cooker, a very popular food wish. And I'll have links in the post to this particular model, which, like I said, is from Simusa. But really, no matter what model you're using, same basic idea. Go to this site to get all these specific measurements. And as always, enjoy.